475 The Roman general Orestes forces Western Roman Emperor Julius Nepos to flee his capital city, Ravenna. 489 Theodoric, king of the Ostrogoths, defeats Odoacer at the Battle of Isonzo, forcing his way into Italy. 632 Fatima, daughter of the Islamic prophet Muhammad, dies, with her cause of death being a controversial topic among the Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims. 663 Silla Tang armies crush the Baekje restoration attempt and force Yamato Japan to withdraw from Korea in the Battle of Baekgong. 1189 Third Crusade. The Siege of Acre, commenced by Guy of Lusignan, took place August 28, 1189 to July 12, 1191, as a first step to retake Jerusalem. 1524 The Coxquiquel Maya rebel against their former Spanish allies during the Spanish conquest of Guatemala. 1542 Turkish-Portuguese War, Battle of Wafla. The Portuguese are scattered, their leader Cristóvão da Gama is captured and later executed. 1565 Pedro Menéndez de Avilés sights land near St. Augustine, Florida and founds the oldest continuously occupied European established city in the continental United States. 1640 Second Bishops' War. King Charles I's English army loses to a Scottish Covenanter force at the Battle of Newburn. 1648 Second English Civil War. The Siege of Colchester ends when Royalists' forces surrender to the Parliamentary Forces after 11 weeks, during the Second English Civil War. 1709 Meidingnu Pamheiba is crowned King of Manipur. Gharib Nawaz, born Pamheiba, 1690–1751, was a Meetei king of Manipur. He changed his royal name from his birth name Pamheipa to the Persianate Gharib Nawaz. During most of his reign, he was engaged in warfare against the weakened Burmese Toungoo Dynasty. 1789 William Herschel discovers a new moon of Saturn, Enceladus. 1810 Napoleonic Wars. The French Navy accepts the surrender of a British Royal Navy fleet at the Battle of Grand Port. 1830 The Baltimore and Ohio Railroad's new Tom Thumb steam locomotive races a horse-drawn car, presaging steam's role in U.S. railroads. 1833 The Slavery Abolition Act 1833 receives royal assent, making the purchase or ownership of slaves illegal in the British Empire with exceptions. The act did not extend to any of the territories administered by the East India Company, including the islands of Ceylon and St. Helena. 1845 The first issue of Scientific American magazine is published. It is published monthly and is now available in both print and digital formats. 1849 Revolutions of 1848 in the Austrian Empire. After a month-long siege, Venice, which had declared itself independent as the Republic of San Marco, surrenders to Austria. 1850 Richard Wagner's Lohengrin premieres at the Staatskapelle Weimar. The opera Lohengrinese is one of the most important works of Richard Wagner. 1859 The Carrington event is the strongest geomagnetic storm on record to strike the Earth. Electrical telegraph service is widely disrupted. 1861 American Civil War. Union forces attack Cape Hatteras, North Carolina in the Battle of Hatteras Inlet Batteries, which lasts for 2 days. 1862 American Civil War. Second Battle of Bull Run, also known as the Battle of Second Manassas. The battle ends on August 30. 1879 Anglo-Zulu War. Cetshwayo, last king of the Zulus, is captured by the British and sent to Cape Town, South Africa. 1898 Caleb Bradham's beverage, Brad's Drink, is renamed Pepsi Cola. 1901 Silliman University is founded in the Philippines. It is the first American private school in the country. 1909 A group of mid-level Greek army officers launches the Goudi coup, seeking wide-ranging reforms. 1913 Queen Wilhelmina opens the Peace Palace in The Hague, an international law administrative building housing the Permanent Court of Arbitration. 1914 World War I. The Royal Navy defeats the German fleet in the Battle of Heligoland Bight. 1917 10 suffragists, members of the Silent Sentinels, are arrested while picketing the White House in favor of women's suffrage in the United States. 1921 Russian Civil War. The Red Army dissolved the Makhnovshchina, after driving the revolutionary insurgent army out of Ukraine. 1924 The Georgian opposition stages the August Uprising against the Soviet Union. 1943 Denmark in World War II. German authorities demand that Danish authorities crack down on acts of resistance. The next day, martial law is imposed on Denmark. 1944 World War II, Marseille and Toulon are liberated. 1946 The Workers' Party of North Korea, predecessor of the ruling Workers' Party of Korea, is founded at a congress held in Pyongyang, North Korea. 1955 Black teenager Emmett Till is lynched in Mississippi for whistling at a white woman, galvanizing the nascent civil rights movement. 1957 U.S. Senator Strom Thurmond begins a filibuster to prevent the United States Senate from voting on the Civil Rights Act of 1957. He stopped speaking 24 hours and 18 minutes later, the longest filibuster ever conducted by a single senator. 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gives his I Have a Dream speech. 1964 The Philadelphia race riots of 1964 started on August 28, 1964 when a conflict erupted between an African-American woman and a police officer when the woman's car broke down in a busy section of the city. Rumors quickly spread about the police allegedly beating up a pregnant black woman. 1968 Police and protesters clash during 1968 Democratic National Convention protests as protesters chant, "The whole world is watching." 1988 Ramstein Airshow disaster. 3 aircraft of the Frecce Tricolori demonstration team collide and the wreckage falls into the crowd. 75 are killed and 346 seriously injured. 1993 NASA's Galileo probe performs a flyby of the asteroid 243 Ida. Astronomers later discover a moon, the first known asteroid moon, in pictures from the flyby and name it Dactyl. 1998 Pakistan's National Assembly passes a constitutional amendment to make the Quran and Sunnah the supreme law, but the bill is defeated in the Senate. 1998 Second Congo War. Loyalist troops backed by Angolan and Zimbabwean forces repulsed the RCD and Rwandan offensive on Kinshasa. 1999 The Russian space mission Soyuz TM-29 reaches completion, ending nearly 10 years of continuous occupation on the space station Mir as it approaches the end of its life. 2003 In one of the most complicated and bizarre crimes in the annals of the FBI, Brian Wells dies after becoming involved in a complex plot involving a bank robbery, a scavenger hunt, and a homemade explosive device. 2016 The first experimental mission of ISRO's scramjet engine towards the realization of an air-breathing propulsion system was successfully conducted from Satish Dhawan Space Center Shar, Sriharikota. 2017 China-India border standoff. China and India both pull their troops out of Doklam, putting an end to a 2-month-long stalemate over China's construction of a road in disputed territory.